Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Plainview Farm. Let's make a little hay. This out here is the pasture that I clipped in the last video. In real time, that was just yesterday, but in YouTube time, I guess it was a week ago. We had a little light shower of rain last night. You can see the grass already starting to come up through what I clipped. So this pasture right here, this is the one we're gonna clip for hay. This pasture I need to clip. This is the one that the sheep came out of in the last video also. What do y'all think of my fancy seat cover? That's nice. You don't just get them anywhere. That's custom job right there. Try to get halfway into position here. Gotta go slow. This is some thick stuff. It's bogging it down. Probably needs new knives and everything. I don't know. Something I've noticed here as well is I don't think we're angled right. I think the amount of vegetation out here is pushing this mower back too far. We're not keeping our angle right. So I'm gonna have to adjust that. Yeah, it is so thick. Keeps tripping the mower. Doggone it. So, we're either clogging up or something here. The bar is, yeah, there's a lot of grass in there. I mean, the knives don't look perfect, but they don't look bad. They're not, so far there's not any broken ones. this is some pretty heavy stuff right through here. When I tried it out on the pasture over there, that stuff is pretty thin where it was. The sheep have been in there. We were just kind of clipping everything down. Right through here, man, it is thick. We're gonna go back to the house, make a few adjustments, and then try again. All right, so I have tried to adjust it back to give me a little more lead out here on the end. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. And I tried to make a couple other little minor adjustments as well. Maybe I've got a knife sharpness issue, I'm not sure, but we'll try again. Okay, here we go. And it immediately trips. I don't know, there's a bolt down here that is connected to this. I'm gonna tighten it up, see what happens, I guess. Hopefully nothing breaks. It's the next day, and the sunshine, as usual, is undefeated. It got dark, so I had to quit. So I'm out here, took the day off work to try to get the mower back into shape. I took the bar out and tried to go through and sharpen all the knife sections. I put some oil on it, tried to clean everything up. That way maybe we'll be able to cut a little bit better. But like I said, tried to kind of brighten up these edges on these knife sections, get back down into the serrations, and hopefully that will take care of our problem. So I got the floppy hat, long sleeve shirt, and the sunglasses on because it has been really sunny today. Of course, now cloud has taken that away. But either way, we're going to try to get back out there and finish cutting this field. It took me almost a day, longer than I hoped it would, but I managed to get the field mowed. I don't know if you can tell much difference here in what was cut yesterday. This is what's on top. It's still fairly green underneath. And over here is the first bit of what I cut today. This right here is the row that I started in today. And this obviously is still, you know, just as green as if I just cut it. What do you know? But I think my problems that I've had out here could be summarized in a few different things. Number one, I don't think I had my knives sharp enough whenever I started out. Number two, this is some very, very thick material. Of course, this spot right here is actually kind of thin, but there are spots I think you can probably see out here where the grass and the cerisa is just heaped up, And I think it was really kind of compounding with the dull knife. And then the third part of that is that this Sarisa is probably a little bit over mature. As you can see, this stem right here is pretty big, pretty thick. I was able to cut it now because this is when I was able to cut it. But for now, we're just waiting on it to dry so we can come out here with the rake. Well, here I am back again. I'm gonna try to rake a little bit of hay. So before we get started, what I ended up doing is taking the mower off. I put the drawbar back onto the old Deere John here. And I've got my Massey Ferguson side delivery rake all hooked up. Got the new tires on it. I mentioned in a previous video, rims all painted up nice and slickery. And I came up with this little setup to disengage our gearbox as we go along. A nice little homemade job. Originally this thing was meant to have a cable that ran from here to here to here and then a spring attached down here somewhere, and whenever you dropped it, it would let the tension off so the gearbox would engage. I feel like that's way too complicated, so I just made a switch. Once I get out there, all I have to do is switch it. I'm going to be off adjusting the height anyway, so why not just switch it when I'm ready? Now before I get started, I will say this. It's been several years, at least 20 years since I've raked hay. We lost Dad, I guess going on 23 years ago, and it wasn't very many times after that that I raked hay for my brother. So I guess we'll see how much I remember. I don't know. And hopefully the rake holds up. Post call on the post there. Man, I hope this rake works. If it doesn't, we're going to be out of commission really quick. Get halfway positioned here. Well, this is obviously very dry. We've got some leaf shatter happening here. I guess we'll see what it looks like whenever I get it raked. The manual says to get it down within a couple inches of the ground, low enough to grab the hay but not grab the ground. That right there looks like that's probably gonna work. Let me bring it back up just a touch. Lock it in place and engage the gearbox. Well, here goes nothing, or maybe everything, I don't know. some in the corners, that's all right. I'd rather do that than get into the fence. I'm gonna adjust it. Looks like we're leaving a little bit behind over here. Of course, this right here did not get mowed for some reason. I think this is probably my tracks where I mowed around the outside, but we are leaving some chunks of grass right here. So I'll adjust it, see what happens, I guess. Doesn't look like we have any broken teeth or hot bearings anywhere so far. Guess we'll keep going. Rick's gonna be turning around. Watch out, Moses. That corner right. The holes aren't good for it. Cut over into this side so you can kind of see my mowing tracks. Cut in on this side of the mowing tracks, and then we'll come back around and go on the outside, work our way around. Everywhere I hit a hole, it left the hay behind. As the rake bounces. It's another one of those fields. It's rough, has holes in it. Eventually I need to try to smooth it out. Honestly, that's probably what's harder on hay equipment than anything is gopher holes. All right, well, so I've made 2 passes. Well, almost 2 passes. This is the first round. Here, what's underneath is kind of dry. I did find a spot right here that's still pretty green. I'd say it'll be dry fairly quickly. But inside, man, it sounds nice and crunchy. So, I don't know. Hopefully I can get this all raked and we come back out here later this afternoon, early this evening. We might be able to get some hay put up. I'm gonna lift this up just a touch. I'd rather leave a little bit of hay than break a tooth or drag a bunch of dirt into it, so here we go. I obviously didn't get over far enough. Like I said, it's been at least 20 years. I wish y'all could smell this hay. It smells so good. I love that smell. Definitely brings back memories. I think I've been a tooth. I can hear it banging back there. Well, so I think I've got in these 3 windrows right here. This is what I cut that first day. Man, I'm gonna end up with nothing but stem on some of this. Ugh. As I kind of push on it with my foot, man, I can see it. It's drying really quickly. Oh no. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at all these leaves. This is all leaf. Oh, leaf shatter. That's what we want. Sheep and the goats won't eat the stems. So that's a little disheartening. I guess I should have got out here and raked this sooner. The thing is, it's hard to judge, because this right here looks like it was just cut. This is what was on the bottom of the windrow, or on the bottom of the field. And this all looks, I mean, seriously, like it was just cut. It's very pliable. Then you've got this out here. I don't know. Probably should have raked it sooner, like I said. So I'm gonna go ahead and rake all of it. I'm not going to give what I cut the second day any extra time, because I don't think it needs it. I think it needs to be flipped over. Slowed down a little bit. Maybe won't shake off as many leaves. It's not a race, I guess, as Dad would say. It's the moment we've been waiting for. I've adjusted and wrenched and lubricated and fiddled and messed around with this baler to the point that I don't know. I don't think that there's much more I could do. So I guess now there's really nothing left to do than to try to bale some hay. Cross your fingers. Oh, I'll mention one more thing before we get started. A viewer of the channel commented on a recent video about the equipment, the hay equipment, and he said that I ought to get one of these and use it to check the bearings every few bales in order to make sure they're not getting too hot. And I think that was an excellent idea. Of course, I just dropped it on the ground and probably broke it, so that's great. Nope, we're good. Oh, and cross your fingers on the 0806 too. I've not used it for anything like this. The hardest job I've given it so far was pulling a roller whenever I reseeded my pasture out here. You know, I feel kind of funny. I haven't been this nervous about something as far as a farm project goes in quite some time. Really am nervous about this. If it doesn't go well, then spend a lot of time and a lot of effort, and for me, a lot of money. So, man, I hope this goes well. All right, gotta lower the pickup. All right, all that's left now is to actually bale some hay, so here we go. Come on, belts, turn. The belts are suddenly not spinning. And that's not good. Well, I guess my nerves served me right in one respect, because that was a pretty short trip. I don't know. I don't know why the bale is not starting, the belts aren't spinning. Maybe the belts aren't, I don't know, maybe they're not set tight enough. I don't have an answer for that. So, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to figure it out. Well, it is almost dark, but I got the belt spinning. You can see here, it's about to come in a second. Nice spots right there. It was just stuck, and it was just not wanted. It did not want to let go on the rollers. I originally thought that, well, once we got some hay in the chamber, it would kind of force things to break loose because it would build up tension. But what I ended up doing was I opened up the gate on the baler, and I took this pipe right here and I backed the truck up here to the baler, and with the gate open I put a bunch of tension on the belts and tried to get every roller moving as I moved it all back and forth, tried to get it going. But finally it did. I got all of it moving. I did that a few times, and finally this time whenever I kicked it on, the belt started spinning. So that's all the hay I got out of it. I guess now I'm gonna try to feed it back into the baler and see if it actually starts a bale. So cross your fingers again. Well, it sure looks like it's starting a bale. That's nice hard core right there. I don't know if it should be starting right there or back there. It'd probably be starting back there. Pickup may not be close enough to the starter roller. No, I can't wait for tomorrow. We're gonna go try to at least get a bale going in here, more so than just a core. After all the fighting I've done with that baler this evening, digging the hay out of it a couple different times. I didn't record all of that. Didn't figure you'd want to watch that. But digging the hay out of it, all that kind of stuff, I've got to see some sort of proof of life. So we're headed back out to the field. All right, well, it's almost dark. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see very well or not, but I'm gonna try to get a bale going here real quick. We'll start out slow. Spit my core out. So yeah, it's making the core in the wrong place. I was right. Sometimes I hate it when I'm right. So, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish pulling all this out of here. Then I'm gonna go back to the house and we're gonna try this again tomorrow. So, I'll see you then. Okay, here we are. Again, I've adjusted and I've adjusted and I've fiddled and tweaked, and I guess now we're at the point where I've just got to test it out again, see what happens. So here we go. Into the chamber, please go back into the chamber. Oh, it spit it out. Well, maybe it didn't spit it out. Haha, no. Actually, it looks like it's back in the chamber. I don't think I've ever been so happy to be wrong in my life. Okay, here we go again. We're making a bale. think that's probably good enough. All right, now let's see if we can actually tie one. Kick this dude out. Let's kick the PTO back on. All right, let's go take a look at what we got. I believe that is a bale of hay. I probably could have done a better job with the string, but you know what? This is the first time I've ever done this, so give me a break. Had a little difficulty getting it out of the chamber, but I don't know, that's probably going to take some getting used to also. But I think that's a pretty good looking bale for my first time ever. I think I'll take it. Well, the camera got hot and shut off, so I don't know how much you missed, but had another bale have a hard time coming out of the baler. Did a better job wrapping this one, and it's, you know, more uniform than the other one was, but otherwise I think it's a good looking bale of hay. But I do have an issue. I think, as you can see there's hydraulic fluid. I've got a cylinder here that needs to be rebuilt. I don't know. I guess we'll see what we can get done, and if we end up with a bale stuck in there that we can't get out, I guess that's when we'll stop. So let's keep going. Call that one good. We're going to bring it up here though. things are working better. The more I go here, maybe the equipment's just been sitting for so long that it needs a little extra time, a little extra use to kind of break everything back in. But that bale came out easy, it wrapped well. It seems to be going okay now, so let's just get to it, I guess. Heavy on one side. All right, well, I made this one a little bit smaller simply because I didn't want to have to dump it out on the hill. So this one is probably only about 4x4. Did a much better job, or well, kinda-ish, putting the string on that one. Well, this is the last bale. I actually haven't counted them yet to see how many there are, but it's the last one. This last bale here was probably pushing it on shutting everything down. Mentioned before, my size indicator here is all faded out, so can't really tell how big the bales are. I've just kind of picked a spot on there, and that was close to where I could see where a shadow of a 5 was, and that's where I operated. Now, some of the bales turned out really nice, like this one right here. Some of them turned out pretty junky, like the first one up there, and you know, maybe another one over there, over there maybe. But all in all, I have to say I'm pretty happy. Even though there are patches like this of stuff that we cut still lay it on the ground. Again, this field is really bumpy, and the rake had a hard time with it, with all the holes, gopher holes, whatever is all out here. But using the equipment that I used, you know, equipment I bought for $1,000 in some respects, specifically the rake, had to rebuild. I think it did pretty good. So let's do a quick count here, see what we got. There's 1, 2, 3, 15, 17, 18, 19. So that's 19 bales on 2 2/3 of an acre. So one more thing before I close. It wasn't that long ago that I would have told you to buy hay, not to bale your own. And obviously my opinion has changed on that. I still, in a lot of respects, you know, it's a good idea to bale or to buy hay because you're importing nutrition, you're importing nutrients onto your property. Hay, even expensive hay, at the end of the day is cheap fertilizer, and that's one thing that people don't consider whenever it comes to buying hay. But that doesn't take into account the desire to be self-reliant, the desire to run old equipment, do things that you find joy in. You know, and for a lot of folks, farming is something that they find joy and they take pride in. And so, you know, if baling hay is something you want to do, even if it doesn't pencil out mathematically, financially, there's something to be said for bringing in your own hay crop. Now, I add to that, this piece of property has been in my family for 80 years or more. I'd have to look to be sure. Started with my great-grandfather and then my grandfather. And then ultimately I ended up buying this piece of property from my aunt and my brothers. And hay hasn't been put up on this piece of property in maybe 20 years. I don't know, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I think an awful lot about my grandparents, what they would think about what I've done with the place here. And with that, I think an awful lot about my dad. My dad passed away coming up on 23 years ago. And I think about him every day for 23 years. And my dad was a type of guy that, you know, he got things done. He didn't have the best equipment. He was actually the kind of guy that a lot of folks would say, you know, held things together with sheer willpower and baling wire. And I think an awful lot, as I said, about him too. I wonder an awful lot about what he would think, just like I said about my grandparents, what I'm doing. And I gotta say, I'm pretty sure today he would be proud. Thanks for watching.